Following the murder of innocent citizens at St Petersfield in Manchester on the 16th of August 1819, in what the press dubbed the Peterloo Massacre, public opinion was outraged and there were calls for a parliamentary inquiry. The Tory government, however, publicly backed the use of force to the fury of their Whig opponents in Parliament. The Prince Regent even thanked the cavalry for preserving the public peace. Many of those involved in the demonstration were rounded up and put on trial. Henry Hunt, the radical orator who had been enlisted to speak, was arrested and sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for sedition. Determined to stop further incidents, the Tory government recalled Parliament and rushed through 6 pieces of legislation in one of the biggest clampdowns on radical societies in British history. The 6 Acts of 1819 banned all unofficial public meetings and gave magistrates extra powers to arrest people and search for guns. It also became illegal to criticise the state in print, and punitive taxes were imposed on newspaper sales. The following year, in part responding to the Peterloo Massacre and the 6 Acts, a small group of radicals led by Arthur Thistlewood planned to assassinate the cabinet. The authorities received intelligence about the plot, and 12 officers from Bow Street stormed the conspirators' meeting room at Cato Street. 5 were subsequently found guilty of treason and publicly hanged and beheaded. The 6 Acts and better harvests limited the number of mass protests during the 1820s, but the movement for political reform did not go away. For radicals, Peterloo became a powerful symbol of government repression and the need to change the political system. Alternative tactics were adopted. Groups like the Little Circle in Manchester and the Catholic Association used constitutional methods, including electioneering and petitioning, to pile up pressure on Parliament. These efforts helped force the Tory government, led by the Duke of Wellington, to concede a series of major reforms to the Protestant constitution. In 1828, most of the discrimination against dissenters was removed with the repeal of the Test and Corporations Acts. The following year, Catholics were given civil rights, enabling Catholic MPs to sit in Parliament. More was to come. In November 1830, Earl Grey became Prime Minister, heading the first Whig government for 25 years. After 18 months of political turmoil and ferocious public campaigning, the Whigs passed the Great Reform Act of 1832. Manchester, like many other industrial towns, now got its own MPs, and those deemed respectable, male householders and shopkeepers acquired the vote. Some of the reformers' demands at Peterloo had been met. Getting rid of the Corn Laws, however, would take another famine and a mass campaign by the Manchester-based Anti-Corn Law League before it was achieved in 1846. As for universal male suffrage, working-class men were gradually admitted to the franchise in 1867 and 1884, but would have to wait until 1918 before all men aged 21 or over would be given the vote. Meanwhile, the demands of female suffrage campaigners would not be met in full until 1928.